Hello and welcome to eViolin Teacher. Today I wanted to talk to you about instrument maintenance. Maintenance is just a fancy word for how to take care of your violin. The first thing I want to talk about is taking your violin out of the case. Now you notice my case is on the side and you'll see that I have 4 silver buttons. You might have 3 or 4 depending on the case you have, but it's important to make sure that these 4 are pointed down so that when you open your case, the violin doesn't come flying out. You might have zippers or you might have a lock on either side, but either way, you want to go ahead and undo the zippers or the locks and then open it top up. That way, when you open up your case, you'll see that the violin is nice and secure in the case, and the bows are nice and secure up here. Now, when you practice your violin, if you are like me at all, you might, practice 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then decide you want to take a break and do something, and then you're like, I don't really want to pack it up, so you leave it like on the couch or on your bed. And I want to strongly advise you against this. Anytime you take your violin out to practice, make sure that you put it back in its case. And we do this for several reasons. The first reason is, let's say that you've got younger brothers and sisters and you just decide to leave it on the couch. Well, they come in, they're horse playing, and then one of them comes and sits on it and, it squishes your violin. Another reason why is the violin is very susceptible to temperature change, and if you're leaving it out when it's not in its case, it can cause the violin to go out of tune, and then you're going to have to tune it, and tuning, as a beginner takes a lot of time, and you want to cut down on that. So just make sure you put the violin back in its case every time you're finished practicing. When you play the violin, you want to make sure that you store the instrument pretty much in the same place. So find, a spot in your house or your apartment where the temperature kind of stays constant. And here's why, as I explained earlier, the violin is very susceptible to change. So if there's varying degrees of cold and warm temperatures in your house, it'll affect the tuning of your instrument. One thing you want to do when you get to the bow is this. Every single time you play with the bow, I'm going to ask you to tighten the bow. Now the bow should be big enough so that you can fit, a pencil through the middle, barely, touching both sides. Now, when you do this, the stick of the bow will straighten just slightly. And if you then go and put the bow back in the case without loosening it, the natural curve that the bow has will eventually diminish, and then that will cause it to not be able to function properly. So when you're done with the bow, make sure that you loosen it, and you know that you're loosening it because the hair will get closer to the stick of the bow, and again, I wouldn't be able to fit a pencil through here. The next thing I want to talk to you about the bow is the hair. Now this hair is actually made out of real horsehair, and you don't want to ever touch it with your fingers. Believe it or not, our fingers have natural oils, and if you were to touch the bow, you would make it so that the bow actually won't be able to play on the violin. So you want to make sure that your hands avoid touching the hair of the bow at all costs. And again, you don't want to leave your bow just lying around your house or on top of the violin. You want to go ahead and make sure that you put the bow in correctly in order to take care of your instrument. The next thing I want to talk to you about is cleaning your violin. You'll notice that my cleaning cloth is really, really dirty. I've had it for several years. But every time you play the violin, the rosin from the bow will stick to it, as well as just, there will be a buildup of dust. You want to go ahead, wipe down the strings, and then you want to make sure that you wipe down the body of the instrument too, and that keeps the violin in good shape. And you don't want to skip under the fingerboard, because this is a place where a lot of dust will build up. You can get under here as well. Just do a general wipe. Again, I would use a microfiber cloth that I explained in an earlier video, but if you have a washcloth or any other type of soft material, that should suffice for the time being. When you put the violin back in its case, you want to make sure that there are no extraneous objects. Like right now I have a pencil, and if I were to take it and the pencil were to, go around, it could, cause minor scratches to the instrument. So take any loose objects and put them away. So the only thing you should really have in your case are your bows, the violin, your shoulder rest, and in this case, a cleaning cloth. Now, the last thing, you do not want to put any papers or any materials where the violin sits, especially like on a hot day. If you were to do that, it would stick to the back of the instrument, which would then cause damage to the back of the instrument. So you don't want to do that. You want to keep your case nice and clutter-free. When you put your cloth on, you can either put it over the instrument for further protection, or you can just go ahead and fold it up here. Either way, a cleaning cloth won't do any damage to your violin. I hope you find this useful, and please remember to be good about the way you treat your instrument.